Kitty Pies. I am Lanikia, and this is another episode of General Hospital for Wednesday, 3/9/2022. All right, so let's just jump into certain people, get them out of the way so we can get to the main action that was on today. If I had to rate this, overall, I would probably give it about a 7.58, only because there was one storyline on there today that really brought it in. Everybody else to me was just good. It was just good. Okay, so we start off with Dante, Drew, and Sam. So they're trying to figure out. Dante says they've already sent it over. It's with Britt, and so because they know it's with Britt, Anna tells them that she has it and where Britt is located and everything. So they say, okay, we gotta go and find Britt before she dumps out all of Peter's personal belongings, because they're gonna use that again to set up Victor. So then we see Britt and Maxie are talking and everything, and Maxie says Britt is about to dump it automatically, and Maxie says, don't do that. We need to see if he left anything for financial gain for Bailey. He was still her dad, and if she could use anything that could help her financially, then I want that. Okay. And so they go to Metro Court, and they go to the terrace on Metro Court and everything. And just as Britt, they looked through the box and they were like, there's nothing of use in this. And so just as Britt is about to trash it, Dante, Sam, and Mac and Drew come through. Did I say Mac? Dante, Sam, and Drew come through, and they say, Britt, wait. And so they explain to Britt everything going on about how they're trying to set up. Well, they don't tell her how to everything, but they just tell her they need it, and it's to catch Victor. They don't give her all the information, she and Maxie, but they're in for it. They're like, okay, that's fine. Now, meanwhile, while this is going on, Victor is over there with Nicholas and Ava, and he's telling them to ingratiate Esme and Spencer more into their wedding, their vow renewal. And they're like, Esme, and they were like, listen, if you want to make leeway with Spencer, you're going to have to start including Esme, because he loves her. So you're going to have to start including her no matter how you feel about her. And they said, because they're trying to make nice, they're trying to make Victor believe that they're on his, that they trust him, yada, yada, yada. They're like, okay, let's do it. So Victor's like, okay, great. So now Victor, after he's done with them, he goes to the Metro Court. Now, at this time, Dante and Sam have just met with Maxie and Britt. So they need a few minutes. So Drew comes in, he stops Victor from going straight out, because he's ordered his drink and he wants to go out on the terrace. But they said, hold up. Drew said, hold up, I need to speak to you. So he tells Victor, you're on notice and everything, that I know we can't prove it, but I know you had something to do with Peter, everything that went on with Peter. And he says, please know that if I don't mess with me, don't mess with people he cares about. You know how they do that. Don't mess with all of them. And he's like, okay. He was like, okay, that sounds like a threat. And Drew was like, I meant for that to sound like a promise. I don't know why, but I like Victor. Something may be wrong with me, because I seem to like all the bad people on the soaps. But anyways, Victor's like, all right, let me have so Drew leaves, and Victor's like, the waitress comes, and she's like, you still want your drink on the terrace? He said, don't even worry about it. I'll take it out there myself. So he goes out there, right? Victor goes out on the terrace, and he sees, it's Maxie and Sam and Dante, because Drew leaves. He leaves the Metro Court completely. And Britt. And they're all cooing and eyeing over Bailey. And he says, do you guys mind if I come out here? And then at this point, they're like, yeah, And so at this point, Maxie and Britt start pretending to fight over Peter's belongings. So Britt's like, I'm finna dump it. And Maxie's like, no, it could be something in there for Bailey. And so they're going back and forth or whatever. And Victor's like, what's going on? And he's like, what's going on? And Maxie's says Britt received one of them told him Britt received a box of Peter's belongings, and we don't know, and she won't open. Oh, it was Maxie, and we're trying to see if there's anything of use in there. And Britt was like, yeah, she wants to see if there's anything that could help put Bailey through college and all that. And so then we see that as they're doing this, Maxie's just like, you're taking too long to open this box. And so they go back and forth, and then they start doing a tug of war on the box, and it falls. And when it opens up, I think it was a wallet with the tarot card was on there. Baby, Victor's eyes, his eyes were so huge because he was ready to go in, and he told him, I'll help you pick it up. And so Dante and Sam are standing back, and Sam was like, I would help y'all, but I don't want to touch anything that belonged to Peter. And Dante, I don't know why he said he couldn't help. But anyways, so they're all like leaving, and Dante is like, hey, can I take that box to WSB or anything? He's telling Britt all this information. She said, no, I'm going to keep it. And Dante was like, I can take it for you. See if, we could take it to the police station and examine it. She was like, no, I'm going to keep it. And if Anna needs anything, she can hit me up. And so they leave, and that just leaves Victor outside. And then he pulls the tarot card because he's tucked it in his sleeve. So he pulls the tarot card out, and he's like, Peter, while you're rotting in hell, I'm going to find out how he can control Drew and all that kind of good stuff. Victor. And so then Maxie and Britt talk, and they're leaving Metro Court, and they were like, I don't know what all that was about, but if it's to take Victor down, I'm here for it. And so while they're talking, I'm just wrapping up people as I go. So we've wrapped up Victor, we've wrapped up Drew, Dante and Sam, they leave off the terrace. They're already gone. So they're wrapped up. Maxie and Britt, after they say that about, we hope it takes Victor down, they're gone. So they're wrapped up. So then we go back to Nicholas and Ava. So Nicholas and Ava are just like, he was like, I thought you wanted an intimate ceremony. She said, I did, but she tells him Laura thinks that Victor is up to no good. And Nicholas like, I don't really trust him either. And she says, I just heard, well, stop telling him you owe him, because I just heard you tell him you owed him again. And he was like, yeah, but I don't really owe him. He was like, and Ava's just like, we just need to go along, play nice, and when he, shows us what he's really after, we'll be prepared for it. But she says, yeah, I'm not, Uncle Victor, I'm not feeling him either. And plus he has such an influence over Spencer that we just have to go along with this. We just have to go along with this until we can get, try to get rid of some of the influence he has over Spencer as well. Even with Esme, we have to play nice with her as well. So then that pretty much wraps up that pretty much wraps up Esme and Ava and Nicholas. They're just going to play nice until they find out what it is Victor is up to. All right, so then we go to Lucy and Gladys. So Lucy and Gladys are at the bar, right? They're at Metro Court too. Everyone's at Metro Court today. So they're at the bar. Lucy comes up, and Gladys, she's like, "Ooh, my son chose a winner with Sasha and all this." But Lucy tells her she's a little concerned because Sasha's throwing herself into work, and Gladys she's happy that Brendo got Sasha. Because she was not team Sasha, but she is now when she saw the way she dealt with Liam and how strong she was and how, she and Brando really leaned on each other at that time. But it went back and forth. At one point, she wants Sasha and Brando to be together, but she also doesn't want them to rush things. So they say they're in Niagara Falls. She was like, they're on a vacation and trip and everything. And so they're just talking, and, she's happy. And then she says, I can't reach Brando and Sasha. And Lucy was like, they're on vacation. Leave them alone, because Lucy is really close to Sasha. She was like, they're on vacation. Leave them alone. Let them enjoy themselves. So she finally gets Sasha on the phone because Sasha and Brendo were lost for a minute. But then they're like, and Sasha was like, oh my God, we're not going to get married. You didn't want to get married. You got lost on purpose. But then he tells her, let down the window. And she says, I hear water. I hear the bells tolling. And she was like, oh my gosh, these are wedding bells. So they're on their way to get married. So when Brando is not answering his phone for his mama on purpose, but she answers when his mom calls her phone, and she quickly gets off the phone with her. And then Lucy starts, and that she just says something and gets off the phone. We're enjoying our vacation, and then Lucy talks to Gladys, and she says, "Oh, Niagara Falls, you know." And then they start talking, and Gladys like, "Yeah, because if you can't get married in Vegas, you should get married in Niagara Falls." So then Lucy and Gladys are like, "Wait, you think they're getting married?" And Lucy's like, "No, people go to Niagara Falls all the time and never get married." And she says, "No, but the way Sasha has thrown herself into work, you said it, and now they could be throwing themselves into this relationship as a wedding to distract them from the fact that they haven't completely dealt with everything with Liam." And so now Gladys is all up in arms, and Lucy is like, "Please don't go try to find these people." But Gladys is like, "I have to go." She says, "I like Sasha, but I don't want them getting married this way." And truth be told, for a minute there, I thought Brando was like that too, because he was talking about how his mother would be upset, but she'll get over it years later about how she wasn't, she didn't get to go to the wedding and they didn't get to plan and do all this. And he was like, if you could turn around right now and you could have, your dream wedding. And Sasha was like, "I just want to be with you." And so then he says, "Look in the glove compartment," because she questions him on if he wanted to get married again. He says, "Look in the glove compartment," and he tells her, "When I told you I was going to the gym, I actually went and got you a wedding ring." And so they're going off to get married. Then the car engine messes up, and she said, "The check engine light's on." I don't know what kind of car, because y'all got a newer car. And I've rode with the engine light on, but theirs went dead immediately. So they had to get a tow truck, and he said it was going to take hours. And Sasha's like, "Maybe it's not meant to be." But then a tow truck comes instantly almost. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, we still have time to get to the chapel before it closes and get married." And I merged those together because it was just like that. They would show Brando and Sasha, and then Lucy and Gladys. So Brando and Sasha are over there getting married. Lucy's trying to stop Gladys, but Gladys is like, "No, I got to stop this wedding. I know they're going to get married. I can feel it. A mother just knows." So Gladys is off to try to stop this wedding. All right. Let's get to the main event. This is why the episode was an 8. The other people kind of brought it down. They were still good, but like when you have, I guess, this much excitement with Esme and Ryan going on, you have to throw in some other people. But anyways, so Esme, right? The security person says, "Oh, you're making great strides with the intern and all that, yada yada yada." I'm not the security person, but the person that works there. He's telling Ryan that as he puts him back in his room. He said, "For a guy who can't talk and who can't walk, you're making great strides with the intern." All right, so he leaves, right? Because he made some kind of crude comment about, the intern or whatever. And then he leaves. And then Esme comes because she's gotten like the key card. So she comes, right? And she goes in and she's telling Ryan, what'd she tell him? She said, "That little stunt you pulled out there speaking, you could have ruined everything that we've been working on. What is wrong with you? What's the matter with you? Or what were you thinking?" And he said, "I was thinking you're messing up our plans." And I was like, Ryan is really talking. Okay. So then they're going back and forth, and he was like, "You're supposed to be breaking up Ava and Nicholas." And she said, "I tried. I could not do it. Like, how was I supposed to know they were going to love each other, and nothing and we did work?" And he said, No. You too worried about this this college high school sweetheart stuff, teenage immature stuff, and you're not focused on what you're supposed to be doing." And she's like, I'm trying to get it together or whatever. And then all of a sudden she bends down and she's rubbing his hand. "I'm gonna tell you the truth." The way she was rubbing his hand, and she was like, "You like when I call," she said something about, "Don't be mad, Daddy. You like when I call you Daddy, don't you?" I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What is going on here? This is weird. And so I'm like, are they together? Is Ryan and Esme supposed to be together? Because if that's supposed to be his daughter, they needed to reshoot that, because that just came off creepy and weird. But anyways, he tells her, I do. Because she's like, "You like when I call you Daddy, don't you?" And he says, I do. And I'm like, oh, what is going on here? I know I missed a few episodes, but what have I missed? So then we find out so they continue to talk, and we find out she don't even like Spencer like that. She was like, "Oh, I'm having to pretend to show that I'm so into Spencer or whatever." And she said, so I'm having to do all this other stuff. And he was like, no, you're too into it. Like, focus on breaking Ava and Nicholas up. And now we got, excuse me, my sinus. And now we have to start all over. And she's like, I'm trying to break them up. It's hard. He was like, well, again, I mean, they were saying the same thing over and over. Again, if you would just focus on them and get Ava, because he wants to be with Ava. And he said, Ava is family. And she said, Ava's not my family. He said, I'm family. That means Ava's family. And at one point, she like tried to buck up at him, but he grabbed her by the arm and he told her, who do you think, who you talking to? What's going, and she was like, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to do everything I can do. What do you want me to do? And he was like, maybe being in Port Charles has done you some good because you ain't got some backbone if you standing up to me or whatever. And she's like, I learned from the best. And then he called, and then he tells her, we're going to start from plan square one with Ava and Nicholas and them, and you're going to follow my instructions directly, and, it's going to be what it is. And then he gets up and start walking, and she was like, what'd she say? What'd she tell him? And then he gets up and he starts walking to her and everything. And he calls her his daughter. So we know, he rubs her and he says, my beautiful daughter. And I'm just like, okay, y'all need to clarify that from the very beginning, because that whole rubbing his hand, calling him daddy, and he's like, I do. That was weird, General Hospital. That was weird. And it was uncalled for because I was confused. But anyways, that was General Hospital today. It was a solid 8. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm not into the whole Drew, Sam, Dante thing. I don't really care for it like that. And like all these people are going after Victor. It's like y'all barely got Peter. Felicia had to come in and get Peter for y'all. But okay. If y'all wanna say that Ryan. I went back to General Hospital. All my children. If y'all want to say that Drew's can't be controlled anymore, okay, but it seems like y'all setting this up that he possibly could be controlled again. And I don't know what's going on with I don't see I'm confused on, does Esme really like Spencer? Because she was saying it like, I'm having to pretend I like him and everything, like to really show that I'm interested in him. And I'm like, girl, if you don't really like him like that, but she's just evil. She's just evil, and that's why she didn't care about doing that to Cam Neal. I like Esme though. She evil, but she plays that role so well. I like her. We'll see, y'all. We'll see how this goes down, because I don't know. We're just gonna see how this all plays out. But that was General Hospital today. Y'all let me know what you think. Bye. See you tomorrow.